Okay, fifth graders, we are going to now take the definitions that we just reviewed and we are going to make them into a form. A form is anything that is three-dimensional. So this sphere that we have here is three-dimensional. So we're going to take each of the definitions and we're going to place them onto a side of this sphere. The only definitions we won't be doing are form and space, because form is this object, because this is a form, it's three-dimensional, and space because this takes up space. It takes up space in the world, so it has space. It also has things that are close to me and things that are far away, creating that sense of space. So you will receive each of these pages, or if you're at home, you'll need to print these off. So we'll have texture, color, value, shape, and line. So within these blank areas, or these open spaces, we will create that definition, a visual definition. So for line, we'll create a visual definition. So in color, I used a combination of my markers and my colored pencils to create a whole color wheel. So I have all of the different colors that are in a color wheel. And do leave the term section open and don't color that in. That way we can read it when we put it all together. And then on line, I just filled each one of the spaces with a different type of line. And if you notice, I kept with a color theme. I only stuck with 3 or 4 colors instead of using the entire box of colors. Shape, again, I filled each one in with a different type of shape, creating kind of a fun design with it too. So I made it a design project and also a art piece. And I noticed right there I missed a spot, huh? So I'm going to add a circle back in there. So now I have all my circles. Okay. And our last one is value. Remember, value is the lightness of darkness of a color. So by pressing harder with your pencil, you're going to create, or crayon, you're going to create a darker value. And that's what I did here, is I pushed harder in this area, and then as I moved to the center, I softened up my pressure, and I created a lighter value. You can also create value by how close or far apart your lines are. And so what I've done here is I've placed lines really close together, and then I spread them apart, and it makes that look like it's a darker value here, and it gets lighter as it goes to the center of the space. Once you're finished with this, you will take each of these and cut along the black line, taking your time, making sure you stay nice and precise when you're cutting, because you don't want to have this piece smaller than another piece because they won't fit together. I will be back to show you how to put it together. Now that we have all of our definitions completed, we're going to go ahead and put together our sphere. So you're going to need to cut out each of these designs. I like to try to cut as close to the black line as I can, not cutting off the black line, but sometimes that does happen. So I'm just going to cut around the black line on all of my pages. One trick when you're cutting a curved surface is to open up your scissors really wide and slowly close down the scissors, and as you do that, turn the paper. So as you're closing your scissors down, you're slowly turning the paper so that then you can get a nice rounded edge. Now that we have them all cut out, we want to make sure they're all going the same direction, so when we fold them, they make sense. So I'm gonna look for the word value, and then I'm gonna fold from this point across. So I'm gonna take my paper and I'm gonna fold it in half, matching up the bumps. I'll show you how that was. So not folding through the word value, but I'm folding through the next one next to it. And then folding it in half. I'm gonna do that on all of them. So I'm here, I'm not gonna fold that one, I'm gonna fold on this one. So I don't wanna put a fold right through my word. And then I'm just lining up these bumps so then they match up. So not there, one over. And my last one. And now we're gonna glue. In the class, we're gonna use what we call a glue mat. This is just a surface that we can glue on so we don't get glue on the table and then all sticky and everywhere. And then also in class, we have wipes so we can clean our fingers, and we'll need our bottle of glue. If you're at home, you just wanna probably get a piece of scrap paper or something that you can use instead of gluing right on your desk or something like that. And it doesn't really matter which one you start with, but we're gonna add some glue to the whole back of this one. And I'm putting a line along the edge of not right on the edge, but close to the edge. And then right down the middle. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my finger to rub that glue around so that it's like, you don't see any white anymore, but you see like kind of the shiny of it. And I'm making sure I get right up to the edge. It's getting a little tricky, it wants to move around on me, but just kind of brushing that glue off onto the edges so it's all the way out to the very edge. And that's where this glue mat comes in handy because it doesn't get it all over the table. And then I'm going to move, actually I'm not going to move it, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to grab my wipe, clean my hands, oops. And now I'm going to carefully take another picture and I'm going to line it. I have it folded now, so I'm going to line it up with the fold and the bumps from the other side. And then I'm going to do another one on the other side. Okay. Now I'm going to take this whole thing off of my glue mat, set it over to the side for just a second, and I'm going to take my last one. So I'm really only putting glue on 2 of them, and then I'm using the glue from the 2 to stick the other 2 on. So again, I'm just brushing the glue. I'm not rubbing it in so it's gone. I'm just spreading it out so it's not a thick glob. And then I'm making sure I go down the middle and kind of rubbing that out too. So you don't want it super wet or else the whole thing slides around. And then the last step, take this guy, flip him over, and they should all line up there. Give it a little gentle tap. Wipe my finger again. I got glue on it. And it's going to be wet and it's going to be kind of soppy for a little bit, so you kind of give it a second to just kind of set up, but it should look like that. And it stands nice. But a little bit of glue is really important. You don't want a lot of glue. And like I said, I squirted it on and then I rubbed it out using my glue mat so I don't get glue all over my table. If you're at home, you may want to use a piece of scrap paper or something. And you're all done.